everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Successful Woman TV show. My name is Galit Ventura-Rozen. I am co-founder of Everyday Woman TV. As you know, one of my favorite things in the entire world is showcasing women from all over that are doing amazing things to support others. I'm excited today to share with you my guest, Pearl. Welcome, Pearl.
Hi, Galit. Good to see you.
Now, remind me where you're at so everybody knows where you're tuning in from.
So I'm in the nice, warm Tampa, Florida right now.
I know. That's even warmer than where I'm at, which is Las Vegas, Nevada. I know it sounds funny, but it's like 40 degrees and burr.
Well, okay, so listen, we're going to get 40 degrees this weekend. So we're having record-breaking Christmas weather this weekend, I hear.
I don't know what Florida people are going to do with themselves. They probably don't even own a jacket at this point. So I love it. I love it. Well, I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to share a little bit about you with everybody, and then we're going to jump right in. I'm very excited to talk about your topic of expertise, which is putting your cape on first. And stay tuned because you're going to want to understand what this is, and you're going to get it once Pearl starts sharing with us her words of wisdom. You're going to get it. Trust me. So let's get going. Pearl Chiarenza is a naturopathic mental fitness coach, author, and speaker. She helps women put themselves first. There it is again. Authentically without guilt. All of us can use that. Man, I could share guilt stories with you. So that they do not look back wondering where they were in their mind, body, and spirit story, becoming sheroes of their lives. Pearl provides one-to-one group coaching, weekly community shiro meetings, and yearly woman, I love this, pajama retreats. Oh my God, I have the best pajamas. We'll talk about that later. She loves empowering women to put their capes on first with the superpower of positive mindset, overcoming life's challenges. She's a published author in books behind her brand, Volume 6, behind her weight loss, success factor, yes, God, against all odds, and our book, Everyday Woman's Guide to the Mindset of a Successful Woman. She is married to Chuck for 35 years, is mom of 2 boys. Pearl has received a day named after her in Syracuse, New York, and Women of Worth Award in Las Vegas by us. Now, we're so excited to have you as part of the Everyday Woman community, first and foremost, and for all of your support. But I want to jump right in and talk about your topic. All right, Pearl, take us there. Why do we as women specifically have to put on, and I'm saying have to, okay, ladies, our cape first?
So I'm going to tell you a little story. So
Yes,
my sons were in high school and middle school, and I took a 6-week identity and destiny course where we had to identify our I am statement. Who are we, right? And so throughout this whole course, it was 6 weeks, you guys. So every week I was going this course faithfully. And at the end, we had to write our I am statement. And when I wrote my I am statement, I met a sweet friend in that class, and across from me, she said, I still don't hear Pearl in that statement. I hear everything about your kids, your husband, and I hear mostly about your son, Matthew. What about your son, Nate? And it was a huge, like, eye-opening. What have I done for 6 weeks? Have I not been listening and paying attention?
wow.
And so I decided that I had to go on a journey. I decided that it was time to figure out who Pearl was and why was I not putting me first? You know, I was saying yes to everything. I was saying yes to fundraisers, yes to PTA, yes to nonprofits, yes to everything, and scouts and everything for my kids and for my husband. But where was I showing up? And so I took my son off to college that year in 2015, dropped him off, handed him this beautiful indivisible gift, and said, "Your journey is not your journey. I have to go find my journey." I went and made some time with my younger son, Nate, apologizing that I hadn't been showing up for him the way I needed to. And then I started on my path, and I realized that I was such a people pleaser that I was not being the super woman that I need to be for myself. I wasn't wearing that cape. Some people call it filling your cup. I need to put my superpower on first, which was taking care of me, because there's only one me and nobody else can create me. I was brought into this world with these great talents, and why was I ignoring them? So that journey became saying no to others, like not being a people pleaser, stop doing for others and learning to say for myself. And as I was doing that, it was hard. So I had to put a pebble in my pocket and I
Okay.
had to say no to something 3 times. That way, when I said yes, I was very intentional. And so I found that I was saying no to things that did not align to what I wanted to do. And at the same time, Galit, I was finding that maybe you were in the room and you wanted to do that. And I said no. And all of a sudden, my friend could go, I could go, hey, Galit's been talking about this with me. Why don't you talk to her? It's not a good time for me right now. And then so that was an eye opener because I was like, saying no, opening doors for me, but saying no also opened doors for
Mm,
others.
I love that.
Right? So that's where it became like I became my hero of myself, but because I'm a female, I'm a shiro, and I have my superpowers are saying yes to me, not being a people pleaser, and doing what I truly love while doing it without guilt. And
Oh,
as moms, we carry tons of guilt and
so
we
much
can't,
guilt.
right?
Oh my gosh, Pearl. So first of all, you're talking to the girl that's done all the growth as well to get where you're talking about. And I was born the oldest of 4 kids. I have 3 younger brothers. My parents are immigrants, so that obviously puts different kinds of responsibilities on you when you're
Right.
young. And because you want to be there for your brothers for all the
Right.
different things that they maybe didn't understand. And
Right.
then I went and became a mom at 24 years old. So I'm a young mom right out of college by choice, had 3 boys. And so a lot of my life has been taking care of others, which many of you listening as women probably can so relate. And I had to go through my journey as well. And the guilt part is probably the most challenging. And I want us to talk
Mhm.
about that for a second. I remember having my firstborn child. Again, I was quite young. And I was finally ready after a few weeks to go get some clothes that weren't so big because you know that in between part. And
Right.
my husband at the time was in the backyard gardening. We had a 1-story house. My son was inside in his bed right there in his crib. And I, by accident, I said, bye, honey. I'm finally going to go get some clothes. And I locked the door. Habit. Now, this was a different time. There were no cell phones. It was a different world. This was my oldest is 26.
Right.
So I locked the door by habit, locked him out of the house, went to buy clothes. I wasn't even gone an hour. I come back, the back window is shattered. And I talk about not feeling guilty enough to leave, but then you lock your husband at the time out of the house from your child. So obviously I'm at a different stage now. I can laugh and I can giggle. And
Right.
I've learned so many lessons related to what you're talking about, which is if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of everybody else.
Right.
So how
Right.
do we help the women that are listening deal with this guilt of taking care of themselves first?
Right, it's so I was laughing at that story because I remember not having phones. We started kids late. It took us 10 years and we adopted our oldest and our second was in vitro. So I get what you're saying. And, we moved from Virginia to Florida so that I could be the stay-at-home mom. And I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't what I wanted to do. And so I had the balance of work and then kids, and so that guilt of I'm gone all the time, but I'm not, so one of the things that I coach on, I love to sit with my women and love to coach them on first of all, what is it you wanted to do? What is your to-do list, right? What are the things that you love to do that you have that desire that I don't want to give these up. I really want to do these. And then we look at the list and we talk about, well, how can you make time for those things on your list, but also spend time, if with your family, make sure you're fully involved in your job, whatever
Yes.
that is important to you, that you
Yes.
have that ability to do it without guilt. And so once we break that list down, then we talk about, okay, when you work on that list, how's it going to affect, let's say you have children, how's it going to affect your time with your children, right? And so
Right.
maybe it's that something where you just want to be able to sit down and do a little journaling, but you don't, it's going to be during a time where you don't have time during the day. So I always talk about why not sit down and Well, find a silly back in the day, it was Barney for my kids. So sit down
Oh
and
my
watch
God, me
a
too. Forget it.
I know the song. So we would sit down and be like, sit down and watch a show with your kids and maybe do a little journaling of what things are on your mind. So you're still active with them, but you're doing a little self-care for yourself at the same time, right? And
Yes.
so also it's communication, like communicating your realistic expectations to your family. So
Okay.
my sister-in-law gave me an amazing lesson, and I now call what I used to call stay-at-home moms, I call them CEO moms
Okay.
because you're running a household. And I went to go visit her. My nephew was, I think, around 5, and she's like, "Hey, come upstairs with me. Sean's got to put his clothes away." I'm like, "Put his clothes away? Like, what do you mean?" She's like, "Yeah, he helps me fold them." And she had it set up for the bottom drawer. She goes, "Listen, he doesn't put away perfectly, but this is a household. This is a business of a house that we're running, and he has to know that I don't do everything. We all have responsibilities." And so I was like, wow, I'm going to use this. So now when I work with my women, we also talk about what are things your kids can do that take some relief and that stress off of you, that you're spending time with them, but you're teaching them a lesson, right? Because I
Okay.
think, Elite, I don't know about you, but I grew up in a time where, my mom and my grandmother did everything for us and for my dad and my
Same time,
grandfather.
Pearl. Same time.
Yeah, and they never had time for themselves, and I think we put that pressure on ourselves that we have to do everything, and we don't have to do everything. Your kids can do laundry. Your kids can put dishes in a dishwasher. They can, you're running a business. So communicate. And, one of the things I work with my CEO moms is create the list of what needs to be done in the house and develop you're running a business. So develop your schedule of who can do what and where and when, including which one of you are picking up the children from or bringing them to events, right? You don't have to
Totally
be the
agree.
one. So
Totally agree.
that's where I started was, how that's how I because we put so much guilt in ourselves. And really, tomorrow, if you're not here, who's going to do it if you're not here? They're going to figure it out. So why not show them how to figure it out and also do some things for yourself?
Yeah, and I know that for me as a mom, also being such a young mom, and I started my business almost immediately at the time that I had my first child. I know that for me personally, it was it was a lesson I had to learn through the process,
Right.
getting to 10 o'clock at night and literally passing out in the bed, not falling asleep, and then starting over again in the morning. So one of the things I learned quickly was get up before the kids every morning. And that's a routine I still do today, even with only one at home that's 19. My
That's
other two are
awesome.
gone. And my 19-year-old works and goes to college and isn't even home a lot. But even till today, I will get up at least 30 minutes. And I did that even with babies, 30 minutes to an hour. Sometimes you're too tired when you have little ones. But
Right.
even today, Pearl, even on the weekends, I'm up before my family. I love my pin drop quiet time in my house. I love that when they wake up, I'm excited and ready instead of, okay, here we go. And I'm like a lot of women from our generation, Pearl, where we like to be everything. We like to be the homemaker, the breadwinner, the caretaker, the cooker, the Betty Crocker. We like to do so many things that a lot of people maybe that are younger today may or may not choose to do.
Right.
But I love your idea of sharing responsibilities and having these conversations. And it's different. I mean, if your job is you stay at home and you choose, that's a choice to do
Right.
everything, and your significant other is the one that goes out and works every day, that's a choice. I
Right.
love, I think that there isn't one way to do things like we talked about. So let's jump in real quick. When you talk about, I have to ask before we wrap up and you tell everybody about how to get a hold of you. What are these pajama parties?
So what was happening was I had the honor of being an ambassador for this great big event, and it was a
Okay.
women's event, but it was on the stage were entrepreneurs. I mean, you had people like that are now on the Shark Tank, Barbara Corcoran, people like that were on the stage talking to these business women. And
Okay.
and I sat there and I was like going, well, this is great, but what about for whatever reason I was still drawn home to what about the women who are not business owners, are having to either they're a CEO mom or they're a professional that's having to balance everything in the
Yeah.
world, right?
Yeah.
And I was like,
They
we
work
need to
for
create
somebody
something.
else.
Yeah. So I was like, we need to create something for them. So it started out with as a brunch like 6 years ago. And my friend who was doing it, helping me with it, she had been a speaker. She's like, you should do pajama parties. I'm like, okay. And we literally started this PJ retreat every September. We have, and it's so amazing. I got great news to share with you. So we show up, the guests come on a Thursday evening. We have a makeup removal party. We are literally in our pajamas the entire weekend, no makeup. And if you refuse to take your makeup off, we've had speakers been told they can't come and or you have to leave, because it's very important that you not wear makeup, because once you take the mask off, then you get to the real work, right?
Ooh,
You peel the onion,
I
right?
love it. I love it. Okay. All right. So what's the good news you want to share before we wrap up, and
So,
tell
okay, so
everybody
the
how
good
they
news
can get a
is
hold of you?
we have averaged 13 women at the retreats for the past 6 years. This
Okay.
past sixth year that we had September this past year, everybody's coming back. And I'm like, we can't keep it to 13 women, ladies. So we open it up to 25 women. And right now we have 5 spots left. So we're
Amazing.
going to the Gulf Shores of Alabama, September 14th
How
to the
can everybody
18th.
learn about it?
Okay,
And
so that's so easy. Just go to wslivingretreats.com. So it's
okay,
wslivingretreats.com, and everything is there to
good.
get your spot.
And how can everybody learn more about you, Pearl, and working with you?
So you can either email me at pearl@wsliving.com, or if you want to know where you're showing up in your self-care and how you're doing, I would love you to go take our survey and I'll reach out to you with your score results. And it's called pearlssurvey.com. So it's real
Beautiful.
easy. Pearlssurvey.com. Double S's. So PEARSS survey.com.
I
So
love it. And it's such an easy way for someone to just kind of get an idea of how you work and what you ask and how you start helping them. So if
yes.
they want to learn more, then you'll reach out, you'll talk to them. And I love having you as part of our community, as part of our
I
books,
love
our
it.
masterminds, our TV network. I'm excited to help you with your TV show. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and to share your expertise. I hope everybody listening and watching is going to start putting their cape on first, because
Yeah.
if you burn out, if you're sick, if you're not around, you can't do the things that you love the most, which is typically taking care of other people and loving them if you're anything like me
Absolutely.
and Pearl. So thank you so much for watching and listening to another episode of the Successful Women's TV show. My name is Galit Ventura-Rozen. We appreciate you being part of the Everyday Woman TV network. Bye, everybody.
Bye.